happening? Hey. Today, you should be on this page. We're going to talk about what happens when we have a fraction that we have to deal with. I need you to understand that tomorrow you're going to have a graded assignment about solving equations. Okay? And then we're going to move on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with two-step equations. Okay? So here we are right here, page 8. Okay. A couple weeks ago, we talked about fractions pretty extensively. When we divide by a fraction, it's the same thing as what? Multiplying by what? Yes, multiplying by its reciprocal. Okay, so if we need to divide by a fraction, dividing by a fraction isn't very pretty. So instead of dividing by the fraction, we're going to multiply by its reciprocal. Okay, so right now, don't write down what I am. Okay, just hold on. I'll tell you when to start writing. If we look at number 17, Amari, I see that 2/3 is tied to x by multiplication. So I need to undo that multiplication. And on Friday, we talked about the inverse operation of multiply is what? Division, okay? So don't write this down. I need to divide by 2/3 in order for those to cancel. Does that look pretty? That looks terrible. Dividing by a fraction does not look nice when we write it as division. So, I don't want you to write that, okay? Now you can write down what I do. Instead of dividing by 2/3, since it's a fraction that we're dividing by, we are going to multiply by its reciprocal, which is 3/2. So now you can write that. That's why we're doing that. Okay? So dividing by 2/3 means multiply by 3/2. So what happens? This 2/3 times 3/2, those cancel out so that we have our variable by itself. Now, this 48 is like 48/1. Anytime we're working with fractions and one of our numbers is not a fraction, we know we can put its denominator as 1. Okay, so what do? We need to multiply 48 times 3. So we can use calculators. What is it? 144? And what about 1 times 2? Okay. Now, can we take 144 divided by 2? Okay. Some of you are like, whew, good thing I have classmates who can do mental math. If you would like a calculator, please grab your number calculator right now. I'm giving you the opportunity. Go grab a calculator if you think you're going to need it. beginning. Stick to your own business, dude.
There's so lot of
Okay, let's review what we did. 2/3 was tied to x by multiplication. So to undo multiplication, we know we need to divide. But dividing by 2/3 is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal 3/2. So we took 48 times 3/2 once these canceled out. Okay. Isn't that so cool? It's like magic.
I don't like it. It makes my head hurt.
Okay. All right. Let's look at number 18. Okay, the variable's on the right side. That's fine. Okay, no big deal. How is negative 1/3 tied to W? Multiplication. So we need to undo our multiplication. But since our multiplication is with a fraction, we know we need to undo the multiplication by using a reciprocal. Okay? Landon, what's the reciprocal of negative 1/3? Okay. So this is a hint right here. So that's an upside down man. Okay, I really want like Landon to answer this. If I wanted Channing to, I would have said Channing. Okay, Landon. 1/3. Okay, but do you see how that 1/3 is negative? We got to keep the negative with it. So we are going to multiply both sides by -3/1. Okay. Well, what happened to my... I don't have it. Okay. So these cancel and we're left with W. Right here, we have -3/1 times 7/1. -21/1. So can we just write, so -21/1, but we know that over 1 isn't necessary. If you keep it like that, I'm not going to be upset, but -21 would be our answer. Okay, how do you feel about that? Meh?
Right.
Okay. Let's look at number 19. Okay, our whole goal is to get the variable by itself. K has a -4/5 multiplied to it. Do you realize I'm waiting for you to finish your conversation? -4/5, oops, is tied to K by multiplication. So we need to undo our multiplication by dividing. But since we have a fraction, we're gonna have to use its reciprocal. Okay. Matthew, what's the reciprocal of -4/5? -5/4, is that what you said? So we're going to multiply by -5/4. Okay, so these cancel, we're left with K. All right, if we make a 60/1, this is why calculators could be helpful today. We have a -5 times 60. Help me out. -5, -300. Can anybody else confirm that? -300. And then 4 times 1. 4. Okay. So now we need to decide, okay, is this a number we can actually divide? Or do we need to like simplify a fraction? Can we take 300 divided by 4? What is it, Landon?
-75.
So we keep the negative, and 300 divided by 4 is 75. All right. I would like you to try number 20. See if you can get the same answer as everyone else at your table. You get an answer, check in with your neighbors, see if they got the same thing. Okay, good. Do the multiplication now. -9 times 4 over 1. You still have those. Go grab number 15. Okay. Sammy, what did you do to both sides to get rid of that 1/4? By what? Sammy multiplied by 4 over 1. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You did the same thing. We did the same thing. Okay. So 1/4 times 4 cancels out, and we have P equals, if we take -9 over 1 times 4 over 1, Jacob Tanner, what do we get? -36 over 1. But we don't need to write the over 1. We know it's -36. The biggest thing I want you to be careful of is make sure you're getting your negatives and positives where they need to be. Okay? I saw a handful of people have 36, but they forgot to bring that negative with. Negative times a positive is a negative. So make sure you're paying attention to negatives and positives. Okay? All right, we're going to do one more problem together, and then I'll give you a good chunk of time for your homework problems, okay? So number 21, this one looks a little different. We have fractions on both sides, okay? So it is important that we identify where x is, and we know which number we need to move. Which number is attached to x? The 2/3, okay? So we need to undo the multiplication that the 2/3 is connected to with x, okay? But since it's a fraction, we know we need to use the reciprocal, okay? So we're going to need to multiply both sides by, what's our reciprocal that we need? 3 over 2. Very good, Kelsey. Thank you. Carly, gosh darn it. I know. This is like not even fair for me. Like,
How did you got mixed up?
I don't know. I panic and then I say the wrong one. Okay. Now, first of all, what kind of answer are we going to have? Positive or negative? We're going to have a negative because we have a negative times a positive. Okay. What is 4 times 3? 12. 9 times 2? 18. Okay. Is that an answer that I want you to leave? No. Both 12 and 18 are divisible by the same number, so we need to reduce it. What number are they both divisible by? I've heard 3, I've heard 2, I've heard 6. Which one is going to get us there faster? Let's use 6. If we divide both of these by 6, then we get negative 2/3.